Home Gas is a proud sponsor of CMR's Storm Ready 2022, as we stand ready to support you before, during, and after any storm. Here at Home Gas, our team of managers, field experts, and customer service agents work overtime to ensure that you are covered during hurricanes. With over 65 years of experience, we have been here with you through tropical depressions and major hurricanes like no one else. The same real-world experienced team that saw you through catastrophic Hurricane Ivan is still here, poised to continue offering the best service before, during, and after the storm. Contact us today at 345-949-7474 or email info@homegas.net.
All right, folks, good evening. CMR Live weather update here this evening. We've got Kevin Watler, and there's a few MPs that are also going to be joining us throughout this evening's segment. We would like to welcome you. Obviously, we are here to try to keep all of you as updated as possible. So the first thing we'll do is we'll actually hear a message from the Honorable Premier Panton, and then we'll get a fix on exactly where the system is, get an update from Kevin, and we will take it from there.
Hello everyone. As of today, the 23rd of September, 2022, the Cayman Islands is under a hurricane watch, recognizing the potential for Tropical Depression 9 to strengthen. As of 4 p.m. today, the depression is 737 miles southeast of Grand Cayman and moving to the west-northwest at 15 miles per hour, with maximum sustained winds of 35 miles per hour. The system is forecast to strengthen to a hurricane as it moves towards Grand Cayman and the sister islands. Tropical storm force winds are expected to begin at 6 p.m. on Sunday evening. We can expect flooding on Grand Cayman in low-lying areas, with projected rainfall to be in the region of 8 to 10 inches. I urge everyone to monitor official communication channels, including Radio Cayman, to track the development of this storm system, as storms are unpredictable and can change course at any time. Please ensure that you have ample supplies to provide for yourself and your loved ones through the storm and 48 hours thereafter. Important provisions include prescription medications, baby supplies, non-perishable food, and drinking water. Be prepared for potential loss of power. All government offices close today at 3 p.m., and the National Emergency Operations Center will meet as the storm develops and respond to the changing conditions accordingly. I ask that you remain calm. Preparation and caution are key to remaining safe. Please conclude your preparations as quickly as possible and plan to be safely sheltered by Sunday afternoon. Rest assured that the Cayman Islands government is fully prepared and all emergency services are available to provide assistance as necessary. Visit weather.gov.ky, caymanprepared.gov.ky, gov.ky, and Radio Cayman for up-to-date information on Tropical Depression 9, which will be named Hermine when it becomes a tropical storm. Shelters will open at 2 p.m. on Sunday, 25th September. To allow the public to make final preparations, we have today authorized supermarkets, hardware stores, and Home Depots to be open for business on Sunday, 25th September, from 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. If you need emergency assistance at any time, please call 911. The mental health hotline will remain open, and that is 1-800-543-6463. Be reminded that forecasts and models can change quickly. Thus, it is critical that we prepare for the worst and pray for the best. I thank you for your attention. I trust you will be well prepared, and above all, stay safe. God bless each of you and our beloved Cayman Islands.
right, folks. So good evening. And again, welcome to our special CMR Storm Watch edition. We are here, as always, with you through thick and thin, rain and shine. CMR has got you covered, folks. So I just want to ensure that we give you all of the relevant updates that we are aware of at this particular time. There's a number of announcements that came in late in the afternoon. So let us go ahead and begin with some of those. But Kevin, thank you so much for, of course, being here with us. Kevin, our Caymanian weatherman, be traveling home this weekend, and that is not going to happen. Instead, he is going to be kind of, I guess, stuck in Florida. So tell us a little bit about that situation.
Yeah, so I was originally going to be coming on over to Cayman tomorrow.
Yes.
We have a Cayman Heart Fund event coming up on next Friday, and getting very excited about that. But then with all of the changes and developments with the weather system, decided that it's going to be best for me to remain in Florida, because right after what will be Ian, I know inside the recorded video of the premiere that was recorded a little bit before Hermine became a named system, which is off the coast of Africa. Nothing we need to worry about at all. But the next name on the list will be Ian, and that will be likely given to this system, Tropical Depression 9, that is now heading for the Cayman Islands. So with that being said, again, right after it finishes with the Cayman Islands, it will be coming toward where I live in my area. And as you know, I also have responsibilities here. So I made the decision to weather the storm here, and hopefully, if things go the way I'm hoping, I could catch the Thursday flight, if they have a Thursday flight out of Tampa, and come on down to the Cayman Islands and still be able to attend the event, which is at this time still scheduled to occur on Friday. So we'll see what happens. We just we're going to have to continue to watch the developments as time goes on.
All right. So I think by earlier this afternoon, we obviously have the 4 p.m. Update that came out. And when that was issued, some warnings and watches were also issued with that for the Cayman Islands. Let's go ahead and give everyone the latest position on where Ian is and what projections are we having for the Cayman Islands.
Right. It's not quite Ian yet, but it's probably going to be Ian in the very near future. But with the latest information that came in actually at 7 o'clock Cayman time, which is 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is the time zone that the updates are usually in. It appears that the center is located at 14.8 degrees north and 71.5 degrees west. The maximum sustained winds is 35 miles per hour, and it continues to move west-northwest at 15 miles per hour. So on its current forecast track, that's going to put it around the Cayman Islands area sometime, or Grand Cayman, sometime around 2 a.m. Monday morning. That's 2 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, so that's going to be more like 1 a.m. So it's going to be more of an overnight storm. And again, it's looking to be based on the latest update that came in at 7 Cayman time, a hurricane category 1 strength.
All right. And when are we expecting Sunday evening going into Monday?
It looks like it will be overnight Sunday. So it will be early hours of the morning on Monday morning. So sometime around 1 a.m. is when the center is expected to be over us. At this time, that's the center. The wind field will be larger than that. So it definitely could be that you experience tropical storm force winds a little earlier. Of course, we'll start to get that information. Once it turns into a tropical storm, we'll get a little bit more additional information. It could be late at night when we start to experience the winds picking up with tropical storm force winds, not yet hurricane force winds. The hurricane force winds will likely occur closer to the midnight 1 o'clock hour at the current forecast track. Again, these things do change quite often. So, once pretty much you have that warning issued, once the Cayman Islands National Weather Service issues that hurricane warning or tropical storm warning, it's going to be likely a hurricane warning. That's the time that you stay inside. Do not go out. Everything's done. You stay indoors, because you don't necessarily know when you might have extra gusts come through, because a lot of times when you look at the wind speed, which is something they're trying to move away from, eventually that's probably going to kind of go away, because it does confuse some individuals. and some people don't necessarily take the right actions that they're hoping people take, because you could have gusts of wind for a short duration that is extremely dangerous. And so sometimes that might come in sooner than when you have what you call sustained winds, which is continuous winds blowing at all times. So you want to make sure that once the warning is issued, it means you need to, pretty much have everything done, start staying indoors, monitor, the official channels as well as us here on CMR, because we will be bringing it to you throughout any updates we have. We're going to be, I'm going to be up here at least. You have a generator, so we're going to be online. And so we're going to ask people to come take a look at our either YouTube or Facebook channels, and then you can get the latest update that way as well.
Yes. And thank you so much to everyone who's logged on. I see about 220 people already. Some people joining us in the Bahamas. Thank you so much for your thoughts and prayers. We do have some MPs that are joining us this evening as well. I know that they've been out in their respective constituencies working very, very hard. So let's welcome, first of all, MP Sabrina Turner. Good evening, Sabrina. How are you? Unmute yourself. Sorry. Just unmute your mic.
Yeah, technology.
There you go.
Huh? Good
There
evening.
you go. There you go. Beautiful.
Yes, good evening, and thank you for, again, providing this outlet and giving us the opportunity to get the word out there.
Now, I saw that in Prospect, you had put up a notice that some plywood was going to be made available to your constituents. Tell us a little bit about that and how that went a bit earlier this evening.
Yes, that exercise went very well. We're hoping to get another supply because we ran out quite quickly, and to make sure that I was able to touch as many homes to give a start. We're making sure their houses are protected. I made sure that everybody got at least 2 sheets per house. And that went very quickly, and I'm hoping to get another batch of supplies tomorrow, which time I will use the same means. But I made sure that I took care of a lot of the shut-ins as well, the older people. And we even though we want persons to come and collect this, for those elderly, we definitely did 1-2 drops, but it's not a must that I will have access to a vehicle. And I must say that the response has been very good. Some people were a little disgruntled that it was only 2 per household, but we have limited supplies based on the demands of each constituency because they differ. So I must say that the response is quite well, and as a government, we made sure that we are taking care of our people, and first and foremost, and I'm happy that I could be with a group of people that really are putting the people first.
Lovely Bay Development is watching from the Bahamas as well. Thank you guys so much. We do have Chris Saunders, who's also out and about assisting folks in his constituency this evening. MP Saunders, how's it going?
It's going pretty good. Sweaty, miserable, but I am enjoying it. It gives me an opportunity to see a lot of people I haven't seen in a while. Hi, Sabrina, and everybody been busy. But looking back at it at the bigger picture as we're going about and distributing plywood, it just occurred to me, or rather, it not something that occurred to me, but something that we spoke about before as a group. And I think as we put together the next budget, or as government finances improve, we're going to try to actually push a big initiative to get hurricane shutters on as much house as possible.
Yes.
Because I mean, going around now and doing this, and if you look about how much money that we're spending each year on plywood, and then you're thinking about the environment and everything else, we might as well just make the capital investment, invest in our people's homes, because this will go much cheaper. Well, it'll be much cheaper in the long run, because we do live in a hurricane belt, and every now and then we're going to have this kind of experience. So the main thing for me now, and I think for my group, and I'm almost certain I can have your support, is to at least start setting aside at least $1 or $2 million each year, and just district by district, bit by bit, get hurricane shutters on people's homes, because at the end of the day, that'll be the best thing for us in the long run. And no money on plywood now could be spent on other things. So I mean, I want to thank my colleagues, Minister J. They've been doing a good job. I mean, long before this, we knew this was a hurricane. We made the steps to order plywood. We went out, we ordered vouchers to help people in terms of getting supplies. We're still living in inflationary time. Families are still struggling. You know what I mean? So drains were being cleared before. We got the vouchers, we ordered the plywood. And, worst case, if it didn't hit us, at least we could have returned it. But we just wanted to make sure that we made the proper proactive steps. Credit to the Premier, even when he was in the UK, he was already zooming in to make sure he was on top of things. So again, this is a government that don't sleep. And I'm like Sabrina, I am very, very happy to be working with a group of people that's definitely people driven and definitely caring in this situation. So
Mhm.
it's good.
Wonderful. And of course, we've got information here on hurricane shutters. So as we said, I think it was Wednesday's program when Kevin came on. The time to make your preparations were as early as possible. There were still people running to the grocery store today. The streets were quite heavy. We know that the schools closed a little bit early to give parents an opportunity to pick up their kids, because remember, teachers and other people have to do their bit as well. And someone said to me, I know the premier mentioned that they've sort of released the provisions on Sunday trading, so that
That is correct. Cabinet approved that
stores,
today.
yeah,
Yes.
if stores need to open on Sunday, then they can. At this particular point, I know that Foster's grocery store will be closed. I spoke to Mr. Woody Foster earlier this evening, and he basically said that his workers, they're the largest grocery chain here in the Cayman Islands, that his workers need time too to get their homes prepared and to get their families ready. So folks, they're open from 6:30 in the morning until 10 p.m., pretty much every day except Sunday. And so they've got people working overtime. Those people need to be rested. And, they're trying to stock the shelves as quickly as possible with whatever food supplies that they have. Now, of course, if you went to the grocery store today, you will see that especially with canned goods, the pickings were pretty slim. I went to Cayman Bay and it was like sardines, mackerel. That was pretty much it. A few crackers, and that was it. So Gareth joining us from Canada. So we're not worried about Fiona, Tracy. We're worried about what is going to be Ian, which looks like it's headed directly for us. So I'm going to pull up some weather stuff here in just a second. But in the meantime, please be reminded that if you require a hurricane shelter, you need to know exactly where the shelters are. Yeah. So as of Sunday, we have some information here in terms of the shelters that are going to be opening early. It's always best, again, to situate yourself where you're not having to make this sort of a call at the last minute, because time is really, really of the essence. So here we go in terms of the shelters, folks. Let me see if I can enlarge this so you guys can see it.
So while you're enlarging that, I could at least start with some of them. It's 5 shelters will be opening in Grand Cayman, and they're going to be opening at 2 in the afternoon on Sunday. Yep. One of them is going to be Sir John A. Cumber Primary School. The next one is going to be the John Gray High School, which is pet friendly. But remember, it's pet friendly, but you need to go to the Hazard Management's website and see the requirements. Muzzles and other things are required. So make sure that you have all of that in place if you're going to be sheltering there. Absolutely. Also, the Bordentown Primary School, Clifton Hunter High School, which is also another pet friendly location, and also the East End Civic Center. Each of the shelters mentioned there are also designated as an emergency medical center. So if you have certain minor health needs that you might need a little bit of extra medical assistance, they are able to provide those services. Remember, leave the accident and emergency department for emergencies. I know, I don't know if Sabrina's still with us. I'm sure she will definitely reiterate that. But again, accident and emergency, you heard the name, emergencies, leave it for an emergency.
So, Minister Turner, you had mentioned something today about some of the families that had maybe that would, in terms of emergency assistance, that are on oxygen and so forth, yet provided as an update. I think that probably would be good to also just remind people here again also.
Yes, we are aware that throughout the Cayman Islands, there are persons that are oxygen dependent. Now, in close partnership, and again, that's private-public partnership, Caribbean Utilities Companies is aware of these locations, and they will actually get in contact with these persons. But it's always very important that we're proactive in making sure that these persons who are dependent on oxygen supply, and if they don't have independent generators, it may be in their best interest to actually go to one of the shelters. So this is being proactive, but I know that we have been informed that Caribbean Utilities is aware of those persons that are oxygen dependent and rely on electricity. But this is something that I'm appealing to the wider Cayman Islands, that if you have somebody that is oxygen dependent, especially, or requires constant electricity, that you all are the first to find yourselves at one of those shelters that is closest to your place, because we know that they're equipped and have the necessary standby generators ahead of time.
Absolutely. Yes. And, this is a time that if, as both the ministers have said, as well as Kevin, if you have any sort of special needs, you need to really know where you're staying, because, not every sort of location is ideal for you to try to shutter in. So make that decision as early as possible. This is kind of the path of what is supposed to be Ian here shortly. And as you can see, as it's going to be passing us, it looks like Monday morning around 1 o'clock. It's pretty close. It can veer. We still got a couple days out, and we know that these storms, as it develops, can move and veer, and it can be directly over us. This is the projected path for now. But as Kevin also said, the outward bands of that is going to be significant. Kevin, do the math for me. 120 kilometers per hour. What is that in miles per hour?
120. I have to pull up my little chart. I'm not that quick.
Yeah.
Miss
Isabel is joining us this evening. Good evening, Miss Isabel. Thank you so much for joining us. So good to see you. She's appreciating.
Is it about 75, 80, Kevin?
That would be a cat one for sure.
Put up. I'm looking because I don't do my stuff that way. You said 120.
Yeah,
I think about 75 miles per hour. If my math go in my head right, but I'm a bit tired.
Yeah, he's the numbers man. So
right at 75.
I would take his word for it. Hold on one second.
You are spot on. That's why you do the math. The math for
exactly.
the government, right?
That's why he's in charge of the money. He's in charge of the money for a reason. Trust me. So we are here monitoring, of course, all of the different weather channel feeds to see, exactly what is happening and what the projections are. And when's the next report, Kevin, that's going to be coming up? I see you pulled up one of your graphs here.
Right, 11 o'clock is going to be my time. So 10 o'clock Cayman time. The next half an hour or so, we should be getting another update from NHC. That's when you see the system that I have access to. This is one of the systems that will get another update right at, again, 10 o'clock Cayman time. But if you see, I'm going to zoom in a little bit here on some of my charts here. So just bear with me. If you see the little blue squares here, the center of it is right here, where this black circle is. If you see these blue little squares here, that's saying that those are going to be tropical storm force winds. So sometime by overnight, this system is expected, is in the forecast, to turn into a tropical storm, which will be Ian. Now, it's going to remain that until about Sunday, again, based on the latest information that we have. And that's when we're going to have winds increasing to about 60 miles per hour. And so that's classified now as a strong tropical storm. That's when you see this little yellow square. And then this thing is going to start ramping up pretty quickly. And then we're going to get into, right as it is south of the Cayman Islands, that's when it's expected to be a Category 1 hurricane. And again, this is about 1 o'clock Cayman time. So it looks like when it's to the south of the Cayman Islands, so I could actually measure the distance based on the latest map. It's showing that somewhere about 33 miles, give or take, south of Cayman is when it will become a Category 1 hurricane. And so again, within that, we'll have tropical storm force winds that will end up happening first. And then, as it approaches closer, there's a very, very high chance at this time, based on the latest data that we have, that this will produce hurricane force winds for Grand Cayman at least, which is exactly why the Cayman Islands is under a hurricane watch. And pretty soon, I'm going to say probably by tomorrow, we're likely going to be moving into a hurricane warning time frame. Sister Islands now, a little bit further away. So at this time, it does not appear that they're going to have as much of an impact like Grand Cayman will. However, they will have an impact. So they too have to prepare. And, I was talking about some of the shelters. They too have shelters opening. The Ashton Ruddy Civic Center in Cayman Brac is going to be opening again at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Sunday, as well as There's going to be additional shelter activations across all 3 islands should things seem to be going down the direction we don't want it to go down. The hazard management Cayman Islands is paying very close attention. They're working very closely with the Cayman Islands National Weather Service. I know a lot of them personally. They're very good at what they do. And so we definitely could trust their guidance once they are issuing these things. They're not issuing it just because they have the ability and power to issue it. They're issuing it because they're very data driven, and the information that they're giving is definitely something we need to pay attention to. And here on CMR, we will certainly be bringing you the latest update. As soon as we get it, we're going to be putting it out. So make sure you have your cell phones fully charged, so we can make sure that you are able to access your social media sites, whether it's via YouTube or on Facebook, so you can make sure you're getting those up-to-date bits of information that we will certainly be providing you. If Sandra goes down, she has a generator, I am going to be here to help.
This is the first storm the generator is going to go through, so we'll see.
We'll see how
my hubby promised me, he's like, get the generator, you're going to need it during a storm. So this is now we're putting it to the test. But listen, folks, a couple other things that
Sandra,
you need to know.
Did you give Marlon my message from earlier today?
I haven't. He's still at work. He's going to be having a long weekend.
I have to run, but
yes,
before
thank
I
you.
go, I just need to say one last thing. I really want to give credit to Danny Coleman and the team at HMCI, and also Mr. Tibbetts with his team at Weather Service, and a lot of kudos. Yeah, John Tibbetts, and a lot of kudos also to a lot of the different merchants, Woody Foster, Alti, and those guys. They really stepped up. They responded very quickly, and you have to give Jack his jacket. So well done to them.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
All right, then, guys. Y'all have a good night. Minister, see you tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Bye-bye.
All right. So let me just go ahead and bring you guys up to date on a few other things that are going on here. So the National Emergency Operations Center at NEOC will stand up at 4 p.m. on Sunday. That's tomorrow, Saturday.
Day after.
The day after. Sunday, this September 25th at 4 p.m. They're going to be activating the national response mechanisms. And of course, this is not a decision that they take lightly. So, they feel like, as with Tropical Storm Grace that we had last year in 2021, the Cayman Islands government prefers to be over-prepared than not ready at all. So during this time of crises, they're, again, issuing a number of alerts. The mental health hotline is available to you. We'll put that up on the screen. If you need that, if you're feeling anxious or stressed out, call. This is a free anonymous helpline that's staffed by volunteers in the Cayman Islands who have mental health professional experience. So give them a call if you need to. Schools are going to be closed on Monday. So, we don't know yet the extent of what damage the storm may do, but there's probably going to be a little bit of a cleanup and just a little bit of decompressing the day after. So all schools will be closed. The Ministry of Education issued that alert a bit later on and issued it to all schools, includes obviously both government and private schools. We have the Department of Environmental Health also saying that they are preparing. So they issued an advisory earlier this evening at about 6:44 p.m. advising the public of changes in the operations for the landfill and delivery of garbage collection services. So the landfill is going to be open tomorrow morning from 7 a.m. until 1 p.m. in Georgetown and 8 a.m. until 3 p.m. in the sister islands. All landfills after that will remain closed on Sunday and Monday. And additionally, and with immediate effect, derelict vehicles, listen carefully, folks, because there's a few of them hanging around the place. Scrap metals or used oil will not be accepted at the landfill facility. But if you have derelict vehicles on the side of the roads, please do your best to try to move them into areas that are not, right on the main road or in congested areas. No garbage collection will happen on Monday. They're suspending the service. Hopefully by Tuesday, they'll be back to regular service. So the suspension of the service by 1 day will affect the ordinary service. It'll just basically be delayed by a day, and then we'll get everything caught back up. So big shout out to Mr. Richard Sims and his team over at the Department of Environmental Health. We have the Cayman Islands Water Authority also reminding people that we're now under hurricane watch. The Water Authority is urging customers to take note of the various hurricane preparedness recommendations. You can go to caymanprepared.gov.ky, as well as water and sewage specific tips on their website, which is waterauthority.ky. So they've said, depending on the forecasted path and predicted severity of the storm, it may be necessary for the authority to temporarily interrupt water service in order to protect the distribution system, sorry. Should this be necessary, the authority will give as much notice as possible, and once a decision has been made. So remember that the thing that you want to do if this happens is to try to fill your bathtub. If you have a bathtub, and a lot of us only have showers now, but if you still have a bathtub, try to fill your bathtub with some water, or maybe fill some buckets with some extra water for things like flushing of toilets and so on. I don't think we've received anything from CUC as yet, which is a little bit strange, but I'm still keeping an eye out for that. But of course, we know, again, depending on the winds, CUC will certainly make a call about whether or not they will shut the power off, right? So Cayman Islands, again, is under a hurricane watch, and we continue to track this weather system very, very carefully. It looks like it's going to be called Ian. Retail banks have issued a notification that they have all made the decision, a part of the Cayman Islands Banking Association, for all the retail banks. They're going to be closed on Monday. So no bank will be open on Monday, September the 26th. They're asking people to take advantage of electronic banking services whenever possible. You know, you can still do transfers and bill payments and everything online. And of course, if you need cash, you're able to go to the various ATM machines that are located all over the island. Cayman Airways, they have made some changes to the flight schedule. So of course, they're looking very, very closely at the situation. They've made some adjustments to the airline's flight schedule for Sunday. So I'm going to just share the link here with you guys. Please, if you're traveling this weekend, be aware of what those travel changes are. It's going to impact everything from KX 201 out of Tampa is now canceled. KX 832 and KX 833, those are Havana flights, are now canceled. Miami KX 106 is retimed to depart Grand Cayman at 2:30 p.m. and arrive in Miami at 5:10. So they can get you out, right? And then KX 107, which I think is that same flight, but when it comes back, that's now canceled. So if you were planning on coming back on KX 107, which is a late night flight, that's canceled for sure. New York, KX 792 has been retimed to depart Grand Cayman at 2:05 p.m. and it's going to arrive at JFK in New York at 7 p.m. And then Kingston departing Grand Cayman at 9 a.m. and arrive at Kingston at 10:10 a.m. That's KX 606, and then 607 is departing Kingston at 11:10 and arriving Grand Cayman at 12:25. So basically, you know, what they're doing. And then there's some flights with Cayman Brac that have been canceled and Little Cayman as well. As you can see, by 3 o'clock, really, they're trying to push as much as possible to have all of the incoming flights here. They need time to do things like secure the flights and so on. So that's extremely important. So as soon as they send out these notifications, we do put them on the website. So you can always check the website, and then we share them on social media as well. The Cayman Islands Coast Guard is also advising members of the public to be on alert and to stay informed. Obviously, the commander of the Cayman Islands Coast Guard, Commander Robert Scotland, is saying that, you know, storms can produce incredible wind and waves, and they're urging the community to stay off the water throughout the weekend. Not a good idea. And to really take some recommendations in terms of boat safety, securing your boat. And Kevin, you can talk a little bit about this. I know you've got a family business that has concerns when it comes to boats. So what have you guys done with that?
Yes, it's on dry dock right now, out the water. You know, once I started to see that, hey, this system has a good chance of reaching the Cayman Islands, which is actually, I also reported it, you know, in the weather briefings that we do every night a couple days ago, saying, hey, this is something we need to pay attention to. It's, you know, right now it's a little too early to know what's going on with it, but it was certainly something to watch, and so certainly it came true. And at the same time, I spoke to my family at WG Charters and told them that I think we should just go ahead and make the decision to cancel any other bookings we have coming up and go ahead and put her on dry dock. And so that's what they've done. She's on dry dock right now. Yep, I know the tenders and other boats have, you know, other ways of you know, tying down out in the North Sound and in the Newlands area. There's, you know, other ways if you don't have the ability, because it's not cheap to put your boat out the water as well too, but you know, it is a safer place for it. So not a system that I'm liking right now. It's showing too many signs that it's going to have a good impact or not a good impact, but a significant impact in increasing the chances of Cayman having at least Category 1 hurricane winds. And I don't like any type of hurricane. We know what a strong tropical storm did last year to the Cayman Islands. Yes, one of the great things, like I had mentioned, our building code is very strict, much stricter than many other places in the world, and so we tend to fare much better. But at the same time, we're very flat. We have storm surge that we have to worry about. We have, a lot of rain issues because, a lot of areas in Cayman are flood prone. And for those people who live in those low-lying areas, you need to really pay very close attention to what's happened in the past and take action based on that history.
Absolutely. And
Kevin and
CBC,
Sandra,
yes.
What I'm concerned about, and I'm not hearing much, can we share some information in regards to high tide, low tide, when we're expecting this center of this to be the closest? Because I know that my colleague, Minister Ebanks Jay, he has had NRA crews out servicing a lot of the drains. And some of the constituents have been calling me saying, Minister, I haven't seen them in my road. But if we have a schedule right now that all the drains are serviced continuously, and some of these drains were serviced, I've been told by NRA as early as last week. So you may not have seen them in the past 24, 48 hours, but I have been assured that there's enough of these vacuum trucks or these trucks for blowing of drains that can be spread out of the island, where West Bay, Georgetown have one, the eastern districts, and Midway, there's at least 4 vehicles that will be, once it's safe to go out, to make this happen. But a lot of people don't understand that our water table being so high, Kevin, please correct me if I'm wrong, that if this, God forbid, comes in at a high tide, that there's very little we can do, even if you vacuum out those drains. Am I not correct?
You are 100% spot on, and you did mention something that I have not had yet time to really look at, and it's a little premature, but I want to, based on the expected time of arrival for the storm, as well as when high tide is going to take place, we have a much greater negative effect if we have a storm that hits at high tide. And so that makes the storm surge come in even further, as well as, like you said, the water table is also higher. So those areas that are prone to flooding will likely get even more flooded.
Yes.
So, and again, there's really absolutely nothing you can do about it other than go inland, go further inland to where there is no chance or very low chance of that. So I have not done the numbers yet. I haven't done the calculations. We're a little premature, probably within the next 24 to 48 hours. I'll definitely be able to, well, more than 24 hours, I'll be able to know when we are expecting to have high tides during the period of the system.
Yeah. So Prospect, is prone for flooding, especially the bedrock circle, my mangrove and my logwood way. And that's where my concerns are if it comes in at a high tide. We know in regular summer rains, it's just prolonged rain, what happens. So honestly, I am concerned of the tides when this is expected to come. Understanding, Kevin, as you stated, and Cabinet was briefed earlier today by the Met Office, that what's really interesting about this particular system is that a lot of the convection and strong thunderstorms are way ahead of the center. And that was quite interesting. And you got these darkened clouds, quite similar to what we got with Grace, that is way ahead of the system. And I know that a lot more information will be coming out from Hazard Management and NEOC as the night progresses, and we'll be sharing them definitely on our social media pages. But even though they're planning on implementing curfews, that sort of stuff, what the public needs to be reminded of is that these bands of showers and thunderstorms can be rather strong. So I'm encouraging people, especially, this is island-wide, this is not just Prospect, but again, I have to get the word out there, to make sure you do the necessary preparations. Simple as picking up your plant pots from outside, maybe exposed, that are really tall, try to brace them up against the house. You don't want projectiles. But definitely what's interesting about this one is that I've learned so much about rapid intensification, and that is actually expected here because the surface temperatures of our water being so hot. but people need to pay close attention to all of that as well. That's ahead of the center of this particular system. There's some really strong winds and thunderstorms that could blow in way ahead of what we're expecting, as Kevin alluded to earlier.
Yeah, very good.
This system is not one that you want to play around with. I know in the past, sometimes they say, oh, they've raised the alarm. This is, nothing really happened. It was sunny. I'd rather have that happen where we over prepare and then nothing happens or very little happens. But that's not always the case. And we have to make sure, based on all of the computer models, and I mean, with this storm, it's so unusual too that a lot of the very reliable computer models are really saying the same thing. This thing will rapidly intensify, is going to go over the Cayman Islands, and that's the time it's going to start to really blow up. The water temperature right now is extremely warm. If you go out in the sea, I bet you're going to feel warm water. Yeah. Hurricanes love that. And there's really no wind, there's no share. Earlier in the season, we had a lot of that Saharan dust. Really and truly, that Saharan dust is really why we had such a quiet season, because that Saharan dust is dry air, and hurricanes don't want to mess with that. They're not going to form. But now that's all gone. There's nothing from intensifying. It has everything for it.
Yeah, Sandra, you also mentioned about the importance of filling up your bathtubs. What we noticed, though, if your house does not have a backflow valve to allow this, if the tide rises and your septic unfortunately backs back up in your home, filling your bathtub of water is not going to help you. Because that's coming back into your house. Now, if you are fortunate to have had, which is quite easy to implement, a backflow valve on your septic tank, if you don't have that installed, I wouldn't suggest persons to do that, because you're thinking you have portable water. And please, and I'm quite sure PSAs will be going out to this, we don't want people getting sick because their water is contaminated. It's best for you to use those I call them the buckets, the kegs, the clean containers, nice portable water. If you're fortunate enough to have a pool, consider that for the flushing of toilets should we lose water supply. But it is something to really consider, that if you don't have a backflow valve on your septic that's storing water in your tub, in your jacuzzi, that may get contaminated if you have a rise in temperature and your sewage backs up. So that's something for persons to consider as well.
Yeah, that's not something you would want for consumption, but at all.
Exactly.
I personally do. I always save a number of milk jugs and that sort of stuff. And so what I do right before the hurricane would hit is I would fill a lot of those up. And a lot of those is what I would use for cooking and that sort of stuff, because I'll have that aside. But then I also would have, if again you don't have water and you want to flush your toilets and stuff like that, and I mean, again, like what Minister Turner said, not everyone might have that as an option, because again, if you don't have that backflow valve, you might be able to do that. But if you have that ability, you might want to have a couple buckets, on standby to do that manual flush as well. And again, don't flush every single time. You might want to save your flushes as well too. I know it's not the most convenient thing.
Go to different bathrooms in your house if you have an option.
But
use the bathroom on the other side of the house, and then
and generators
on this side.
We want to be careful of persons who, if we're going to lose power, not to use generators on the inside where those fumes may actually, we don't
and
want.
Not just the inside, we're talking about the garage as well. Do not use it in your garage, outside.
Exactly.
And if you're afraid somebody's going to teeth it, you chain it down or something outside. Do not put it in your garage, because we don't need anyone getting carbon monoxide poisoning.
Correct.
Yep. Some very, very good advice here. So folks, again, thank you guys so much for joining us this evening. Still a tropical system out there, not yet named, but we're expecting it to probably be named sometime this evening. Everyone here in the Cayman Islands is getting prepared. Customs and Border Control Service has encouraged importers to please get to the port and clear all of your items, because they don't want the responsibility of having all those containers there. They've got, things obviously that they need to try to secure and make safe as much as possible. Post office is closed today at 3 p.m. They'll all be closed tomorrow and Saturday, possibly on Sunday. I think even government has pretty much shut down, not on Sunday, my apologies, on Monday. to be closed on Monday as well for civil servants. So I know the deputy governor issued a statement earlier today. National Roads Authority and Public Works are out in full force, doing a number of preparations, which they have been from earlier in the week. Clearing drainage and securing all of government's property. So they have a number of things that they have to do, such as clearing the existing culvert systems in a number of areas, including Rex Crichton Boulevard, South Sound, Esterly Tibbetts Highway, and others. So they continue to work right up until the last to make sure that as much of that is cleared as possible. So we're probably going to be expecting some flooding, folks. And of course, you just want to be, really, really careful about this.
Flooding is likely to occur in some areas.
Yeah.
I mean, here I'm just going to pull up, and I kind of I forgot where this feature was earlier, but we were asked the question around what time can we probably start to experience not the hurricane force winds, but some of the tropical storm force winds. And so the earliest reasonable time will be sometime around just before 8 o'clock. Well, this is Eastern Daylight Time, so sometime around 6 or 7 o'clock local time in the Cayman Islands, or Grand Cayman, that is. That's when it's the earliest reasonable. But then if I go to the most likely scenario, it looks again to be around, it actually doesn't change that much, because this is where Grand Cayman is. It's going to be right around 7 o'clock tomorrow. Sunday morning is when it's likely going to have some of those winds. It'll be right to the south. So that's that information on that one. So again, we have a lot of more updates to go. These systems do change. However, based on all of the information that we have so far, it's looking more and more that the Cayman Islands really need to pay very serious attention to this one. I know a lot of people have. I've heard that the roads were jam-packed, the supermarkets are jam-packed from even a couple of days ago. And so people are taking it seriously, which is a good thing. But make sure now that even though you started your preparation, when we're in the middle of it, be very smart. Do not go and then say, oh, I want to explore this thing. I want to see what's going on in the outside. Stay indoors, keep your doors and windows closed. Again, some people say, oh, I'm so hot inside and I want to open a window in the middle of the storm to try to cool off. Bad idea. Your roof will go.
Ash wants to know if we're live, or this is from earlier today. No, we're live. It is now 8:47 p.m. in the Cayman Islands, September 23rd. So we are live and direct, Ash. We wouldn't bring you a weather update like this, not when we got a storm coming. So Gareth says northeast quadrant generally is the strongest side of the tropical cyclone.
Yeah, it is. And guess what? Based on the models, this thing is going to pass a little bit to the west, which puts us right in that area. If you look at the center, so we're not looking we're not looking good. I mean, I don't really want to scare people and be all doomsday, but I'm just giving it to you real. The facts are that this system, based on all of the computer models and all of the weather experts that are looking at this, they're saying the Cayman Islands. I mean, sometimes the Weather Channel is always talking about America and all this, that, Florida. They do mention the Cayman Islands because they're seeing that the Cayman Islands will likely have a good impact or a negative impact from this. And so we need to, pay very close attention to every one of those updates and act accordingly.
And this is why it's good. And again, I can't thank Sandra enough for her platform, and yourself, Kevin, for just being real. And, we're giving as much tips and hoping that people will heed the warning ahead of time, because we're blessed, that we have some sort of time to prepare. Living in a hurricane belt, we've had PSAs going out from June 1st. But a tip here that with all the forecasted models, people with children and understanding, should you lose power and don't have generator, the constant opening of a fridge. Can I suggest something? Having been a mom, that kids, it's only when you say don't open the fridge too often, they are thirsty or they want something. May I strongly suggest that I'm quite sure a lot of us probably have these Easter igloos to go and purchase ice and have that as a side thing, so you could have these chills. So they're not opening up your fridge or your deep freezer if you have a deep freeze. Do that sort of thing so that you can isolate their snacks, and you can always have a cool beverage, even and should we lose power. And that those igloos, based on the size, keep insulated and can keep stuff fresh and cool for long periods of time. So to all the mothers with young children home, instead of you adding that added stress onto yourselves, hint, go and get an igloo, prepare it with some ice, and put some of those snacks in there, maybe some juices or fruits and stuff in there, so that you're not tempted to go and open the fridge as often as you would if you didn't make that necessary preparation.
And here we're looking at the HD satellite. We've got the live satellite and then the HD one. Kevin, the most interesting thing about this is it looks like after it's done with Cayman, it's coming for you in Tampa.
It is.
Oh my God.
That's exactly why I made the decision today that I better stay my butt right here because I need to protect my own home and stuff. I also have a couple of cousins that are in college. They're both first year students, and a lot of the schools, when they actually shut down for hurricanes, the schools don't want that liability. So they say, you got to leave the campus and find somewhere. And they said, well, we'll gladly take you to a shelter if you can't have anywhere to go, if you don't have anywhere to go. So again, I'm staying here for them as well, too, to make sure that I could try to help. Again, we don't know, because this may change a little bit. What part of Florida? Right now, it looks like it's coming right for me in Central Florida. So I'm going to, be ready. I have my own plan already actioned. I got everything I need to be able to weather it safely the best I can, and I do have a backup plan if I have to evacuate for whatever reason. So these are things that I had in place prior to the hurricane season, which is something that I've been preaching, if you want to call it that. So leading up to the hurricane season, and I know hazard management's been preaching it as well. But I feel more or less calm and that everything's going to be okay, because I'm as prepared as I can be, and whatever happens now happens, and I will, react accordingly. It's not my first rodeo. I've been through a number of hurricanes. The worst one I've been through was Hurricane Ivan. I was right home in the Cayman Islands for that system. But again, no two hurricanes are exactly alike. So this is one of the things I always like to remind people of, yes, you might have one experience in Cayman with something happening one way. Doesn't mean it's going to be the exact same, because as it depends on the area that it approached from, whether it came, the main winds are west of where your home is, or, different trees around your home might have been cut down and gone, and different things that, might not be the exact same anymore. And so that might actually change the outcome of something. It's a domino effect, something you remove there might kind of change the outcome for another thing. So we have to, just always take every precaution. There's a lot of great information out there. Some people, it might be their very first time experiencing something like this. The hazard management has a great a bit of information on their website. And that's a really good place to go and get the information. And again, we will be bringing it to you frequently throughout this entire period over the next few days, before, during, and after the storm, because there are things you need to know right now, things we've been talking about. During the storm, there are going to be bits of information you also need to know. But after the storm, cleaning up, most injuries, and this is the fact, most injuries happen after a hurricane or a storm, because when you're doing cleanup, people nick themselves, they cut themselves, they don't know how to use a chainsaw, they go and get inside some nasty yucky water that they're not supposed to, and then get other icky stuff that HSA is going to have to take care of. There's a lot of different things that happens after the storm, where you have a lot more hazards actually during the storm.
And wading and standing water, you have to be careful of down power lines and all that sort of stuff. You don't want to get electrocuted. So again, Kevin, you are spot on. And we have this thing of wanting to go to see the waves crashing on the shore. And we don't want people out when these winds start coming in, that they're windsurfing and all this sort of stuff. It just puts our first responders under unnecessary stress. Just be responsible and just heed all of the warnings, and platforms such as yours. You have your Radio Cayman that's giving all the, if they say small craft, a hurricane is coming, just stay away from the water and not put our first responders at any other risks because you made a silly and foolish mistake to go out on the water.
And I want to bring it to you real as well too. There becomes a period once it's too hazardous for first responders to go out. They're not going to go out. You're going to wait until those winds come down, and by that time you might be gone. So I mean, they have to also be smart with their response. There are standard operation procedures and protocols that are in place that after the winds get to a certain point, you're not going to get. They'll what you call stockies calls. They'll say, okay, well, we'll get to you when we can. And it's going to be until the event is more or less over, and you're going to be out there all by yourself, fending for yourself until that time.
Agreed.
Yeah. So, folks, don't take any chances when it comes to that sort of thing, for sure. So, again, good evening, everyone. Yes, we are live. We're doing our storm coverage, as you guys know, here in CMR. We did it last year as well, quite successfully. We're happy to have Kevin on board this year to help us out even more than he did last year. But you know, we're having a storm watch segment, so we are a couple days out from what could be a Category 1 hurricane by the time that it reaches the Cayman Islands. We saw what Tropical Storm Grace did last year to us, and it wasn't a pretty sight at all. A lot of people had downed trees, and there were a couple even power lines that snapped. CUC has said that they will join us tomorrow if we go live again to kind of give us an update on what it is that they are doing in preparation for this storm. So everyone's preparing. Miracle Brokers, I know, is going to be closed tomorrow, as well as obviously on Monday. So, you know, a lot of businesses, although they offer essential services, they also have to give their employees an opportunity to secure their own homes and to get things done as well. So it's very, very important.
And the businesses also have to prepare the businesses for the event.
Exactly.
They're going to need to shutter themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And Home Gas is going to be working into the weekend, doing delivery. So if you are in urgent need, check the level of your propane tanks to make sure that you have sufficient propane to make through at least the next week or two. And they're happy to do deliveries into the weekend as well. So I know that they have been extremely busy. So Gareth was reminding us about Tropical Storm. How did you pronounce this one? Eta? Yes. Didn't quite do as much as Grace. Grace was not very, very graceful to us at all. But yeah, we're definitely watching all of these systems. Are we getting an update in 4 minutes from the weather folks? I'm just watching the Weather Channel over in the corner of my eye over here, but I don't see
they've been providing quite a bit of updates. The official one's going to be still an hour away before we get new data. So whatever update they're doing is just more or less repeating what they've already reported. But with the next, I guess, if you want to call it, larger update from the National Hurricane Center, some of that information is going to come in at 11 p.m. My time, 10 o'clock Cayman time.
Yeah. Okay, sounds good. There's a guy called, I really like him. His name is Mr. Weatherman, and he does some pretty interesting updates. And he is talking about the storm. So I just want to play his, give me 1 second here. And I'm going to play his video for you guys to just watch. And then we'll probably just wrap things up a little bit. So let me just pull this out so we can do a screen share, I think. 1 second here, folks. So this will give you an idea of exactly what it is that we are. Actually, hold on 1 second, Kev. Let me kill that screen share and pull it back in. This will give you an idea of exactly what it is that we are dealing with. All right, Mr. Weatherman.
Thank you for joining me. I'm meteorologist Brian Shields. Quick update. I'm making some new graphics that will be Caribbean based, and I'll have those in the next couple of weeks. So bear with me over the next couple of weeks. I'm switching over for the graphics, but I just want to get you to what's going on right now in the interim because we've got a lot of weather. And again, watching Jamaica over toward the Cayman Islands and swinging back toward Cuba and Florida. This is the making of a major hurricane. It is going to develop into most likely a major hurricane. And we've been talking why. It's been on track the last few days, very warm water. And the tracks I use are from the National Hurricane Center. So eventually, once it reemerges from...
Flow? What's going on with the flow around here?
By the time they get that internet before tomorrow.
I know. Listen, we're supposed to have super speed.
Cuba,
so there we go.
This is going to become a major hurricane. So it's going to flare up near the Cayman Islands. And I'm going to break it down. Cayman Islands specifically and Jamaica. It'll start to flare up and because of the very warm water, the heat content we've been talking about. All right, let's talk about what's going on right now as we work our way back toward the ABC Islands, Aruba, Curacao, Bonaire. Things are doing better as this system continues to work its way to the west. Northern Colombia by the peninsula, we're also looking better. Again, this big blob, still not super organized, but getting better organized. This is going to be sliding its way toward Jamaica. See the latest track on this. And again, this will continue to take it near Jamaica by the time we get into later on Sunday, and then more so on Monday in the Cayman Islands, then late Monday into Tuesday in Jamaica, and then a little shift. I want to show you the very latest track. I had the latest track. It shifted a little bit more toward Tampa, so looking at more of a westerly trend. Now, let me take you out in time here and just stop this. I'm going to show you some different maps here. I'm going to stop it here. So this is Sunday at midday. And you see Jamaica in the middle of your screen. We're going to have some of the heavier weather moving in, but let me move this slowly. It's just going to clip by Jamaica. So our western sections, southern and western sections, and when I show you the Jamaica map in a second, again, that's where it's going to be. And then kind of lifting up to the north after that. Then by Monday, almost all day Monday, we could have hurricane conditions in the Cayman Islands. You see that coloring there. So this is Monday as we take it through midday into the afternoon. Then after that, we swing back toward as we get into really Monday night and early Tuesday in Cuba. Western and central Cuba, we'll be taking those hurricane preps. We're taking those now, and then it's going to lift up to the north. So here's that wind field, and we get over toward Jamaica, and you see expanding. Now, when you have a system on the east side of it, that's where some of the heaviest weather is, but it's not going to be for all of us in Jamaica. Just kind of clipping by and putting this back and forth in motion for you. These are some of the tropical storm force winds, but when I put it out in time and you see the red shading showing up, kind of the darker oranges, those are some hurricane force winds. That'll be over the Cayman Islands, and this is by Monday morning time frame, top right-hand corner of your screen. Monday morning, that's when we'll have some of the heavy weather that will be working in. The worst weather on Monday, my friends at the Cayman Islands, hurricane preps. I don't believe it'll be the strongest hurricane we ever had in the Cayman Islands, which is good, but a hurricane nonetheless. We're going to see those power outages. Then after that, lifting up toward Cuba, getting stronger. A little break in that because we're going to see some of those, some of the winds that will or the land is going to hamper some of the winds, and then it will reemerge as it gets past Cuba. And that's when we're going to see some of the issues as far as it becoming potentially a major hurricane as it heads toward Florida. Now, as far as the rain goes, I'm blocking this out a little bit. Sorry about that. Again, graphics update coming for you, but south side of Jamaica and the west side, those purple pink shadings you're seeing there, that's where we're going to get 4, 5, 6 inches of rain. Cayman Islands more. We could see up to a foot of rain as we work our way into the Cayman Islands. So localized or actually widespread flooding, coastal flooding, and we're going to be seeing this working all the way up toward Florida, as I mentioned, with high rain totals. But the winds are going to be more of a concern later on, because they're the Cayman Islands and Cuba. That's when I expect the strengthening. Now, this map, I want to stop it here. This is kind of detailed, but getting you toward in the red shading or red circle you're seeing there, that's Jamaica. Just kind of putting this back and forth for you as we get into Sunday. So Sunday, Saturday night and Sunday, heaviest weather stays mainly just offshore, but it's going to clip us by. This is the American model in Jamaica, but more so Cayman Islands. That's where the worst weather is going to be, lifting up to the Cayman Islands, as I was just showing you, and then swinging back into Cuba, and then eventually getting its way into Florida. And the model, this model has been kind of holding or trending a little bit more to the west. So we'll be keeping an eye on Florida down the road. So that's the American model there, kind of taking it out in time with that. Now let's get over to this. This is the European model. Again, this is a little detailed. Remember that purple circle, that's where we are in the Cayman Islands. The red circle, that's where we are in Jamaica. So going out in time with this, and this takes it a little bit closer to Jamaica. And as it swings to the north, as we get into this is late Sunday, a better chance of some tropical storm or hurricane conditions western Jamaica, but then it blossoms again as we get into the Cayman Islands. This is by the time we get into Monday, and then it will swing to the north after that and kind of work its way out of the picture. So Monday is the day. Cayman Islands, again, that's going to be the worst day. That's when we're going to have some of the strongest weather. So let me begin with that. Winds 80 miles per hour, gust higher. We could have some gust around, some of the gusts could be near 100 miles per hour in the Cayman Islands. Yes, we've had stronger storms, but as you know, that is strong. Be prepared to be without power. Water will be an issue. Coastal flooding, clearly, we're going to have that surge. The system will be developing 6 to 10 inches of rain. Timing, bottom right-hand corner of your screen. especially late Sunday. You want to be in place where you need to be. Cayman Islands, as we get into Sunday afternoon. So you're sleeping where you need to be on Sunday night. Monday, you're sheltering in place all day Monday for the worst weather. Cayman Islands, this map, very important to me. I care about safety. I know I'm transitioning my graphics and they're going to be all over the place the next couple of weeks, but I care about your safety. So I want to keep doing these videos and I'm going to get some good stuff, some good Caribbean graphics for you. Anyway, let me jump ahead. Let's get back to there are the winds. Again, the winds are going to be the concern, not as much in Jamaica. Winds are going to be increasing right over toward the Cayman Islands. So there's your time frames, late Sunday into Monday. All right, for Jamaica itself. Now, here's the thing with Jamaica, as I mentioned, south coast, southwestern sections, that's where it's going to be the worst. So you take over toward Treasure Beach and you work your way to the west, even on the north side of Montego Bay west, that's where the worst weather is going to be. Several inches of rain, some of the winds around 60, some of the gusts could be higher. Sunday into Sunday night, that is when we're going to have the worst weather. Some of those rain bands, though, are going to linger even as we get into Monday. And I'll keep you up to date on that. Tropical storm force winds, these are underdone. This is a product from the Hurricane Center. It's showing in the red shading there, it's showing the very high chance of tropical storm force winds. It should be higher than that. There's definitely going to be at least tropical storm force winds, parts of Jamaica over toward the Cayman Islands. And right now it's showing about a 30-40% chance of hurricane force winds. But I'm telling you, as you see these maps, it's going to be higher than that. Definitely hurricane conditions as we get into the Cayman Islands Monday. And it could be a major
I'm not sure why it's buffering, but give it a second. I'm going to just
it'll fix itself in just a second.
Hurricane as it approaches anywhere in Florida. All in Florida is at risk. It'll be a couple days before we'll be able to fine tune what will happen in Tuesday or in Florida on Tuesday into Wednesday. Now, these are the earliest arrival times for some of the tropical storm force winds. There could be some late Saturday night in Jamaica, then late Sunday as we work our way into the Cayman Islands, then looking later Tuesday into Wednesday in Central Florida. South Florida, though, as soon as late Monday, there could be some of the tropical storm force winds arriving. Now, this is incredible. Look at this map. You see, as you get back toward the Cayman Islands, that's the heat content. I mentioned the water. Not only is it very warm, it is deep there, and that's exactly where the system is going in. So it doesn't even take a meteorologist to tell you that this thing is going to strengthen. I want to leave you with Fiona. We covered Canada in depth already. Of course, I'm always thinking about friends in Canada over the last couple weeks.
All right. So we're going to go ahead and pull him back out. But yeah, some very, very detailed information there. And that's a great sort of synopsis. That was done a couple hours ago, so we'll get another update, I'm sure, pretty soon. But yeah, that's what we're looking at, folks. So as he said, by Sunday afternoon, make sure you're where you're going to stay, where you plan to ride out the storm, and just be prepared. Garrett says to stay calm and try not to panic shop. I think if you were going to do that, you've done that already. Just relax, folks. Just have, at least 48 hours worth of good, clean water and food. Cook a good pot of turtle or something that you can then just keep, some nice plantain and, all the good stuff that you can just keep on the pot and you can keep going back and dipping it out as you wish. So, back in the day, Sabrina and Kevin, people didn't refrigerate food like what they do now. I mean, you left it out and people just ate for a day or two out of the same pot. So, just make a big pot of stew or something, some chili, and, soups are always good for this type of weather as well. Right. So absolutely. So thank you guys so much. Garrett says a gas stove will do. Exactly. Yes, I got me one of those. So I should be pretty much set and good to go. So
and
that's your
grill. The grill is also really good as well too, because if you have an electric stove but yet you have a gas grill, you're able to at least do some of your cooking. Exactly. And one of the things I want to make sure I pass on as well too is make sure that you when the lights are most likely going to go out from this event at some point in time.
Yeah.
Make sure you use up your more refrigerated food before you get to your canned food that's out of your hurricane kit, because that's more secondary. You want to use, I know after Hurricane Ivan, I ate really good. I had lobster and all kinds of fish and all. It was eating real good. But once that was used up, that's when you got your tuna, your
Exactly.
mackerel, and all that sort of stuff. So I mean, yeah, just be very smart. Don't start eating all your
Start with
stuff.
the ice cream first, because that's gonna melt.
That's going to go real quick, and you
I
want
had to
enjoy
laugh at you in that, Sandra. Of
Oh
all
my
things,
God.
you buy ice cream. But hold on, you can do
Yeah,
it.
I actually
Some of us have a
didn't, but I'm kind
generator.
of thinking about comfort food now.
Some
I
of us
should make
have a
another run to
generator. So,
Foster's.
yeah, that's why you could do that. You have a
Oh,
generator.
yeah. I'm seriously thinking about it. It's something about like stormy weather and whatever, where you kind of do want comfort food. You either want like
Yeah.
soups and stews or a bowl of ice cream or whatever. So yeah, so awesome. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much, MP for Prospect, Sabrina
Thank you.
Turner. Do let us know if you get more plywood tomorrow. We would
Yes,
be
I will. Yeah, and
very
I will
happy.
be communicating on my chat. My constituency COAAs were out and about as well while I was at the office helping to load ply with my husband and family members. They're just distributing. We had some of the COAAs out in the community doing that personal one-on-one with the older people. And I personally reached out to a number of the constituents by phone to double check, and I assured them I will be circling. I'll be on the road. I felt a little weird that I'm actually here. And I saw the DP in his car, but I probably beat him. But it's been a very active day for all of us, juggling not only the ministry as cabinet ministers, but also keeping informed and making your constituents know that you hear them, or that you have a team behind you, that even if they don't see you, you are actually attending and assisting with their needs as best as possible. But so far, I'm happy that I could personally reach out to a number of persons. They came to the constituency office. We assisted with the ply as we could. I am trying to get some additional sheets of plywood. I'm even hoping to get some sandbags as well for my people, especially down in Bedrock, Mangrove
This
Avenue.
was one question actually I got a lot of. Where can people get sandbags?
We just have to check the stores. What I mean, we are doing as much as we can to try and procure some from Public Works. This is a new initiative for us. This is the first government, from what we've been told, that we're actually helping from a elected position, where we not only just took care of the elected government, but we made sure that we reached out to the opposition as well to make sure that they were taken care of, and we assisted them as best as we could with supplies as well. So we looked at the greatest demand in supply where plywood was concerned, and but for right now that is going quite well. Do you realize that some constituencies have more persons that would require these supplies than others, and that was obvious today. So should some of the elected officials have additional plywood that is not used, by all means just spread it across of your other colleagues, and so that everyone has at least shelter. But I had to do mine in a way where I gave 2 sheets per house, and then should there be any extra, and I could give one. And when you see people coming to get plywood and they hear people need, and even though it was limited to 2 this evening, and one lady says, that's okay, since you ran out, I'll give one of my 2, Miss Sabrina. And that really got my heart. So tomorrow for those persons, and I'm appealing, if you actually got your allotment of 2, please do not come back tomorrow, because I have a lot of persons who have not gotten out of the first batch that is coming tomorrow. So I'm trying to at least cover as much homes and assist as much as I can. Some people only needed 1 sheet for a back door. They didn't take 2 because I was given 2. And that is a type of response and that I appreciate from my people in Prospect. So kudos to those who are willing to share and didn't take what they didn't need. And for those, when I do the WhatsApp messaging tomorrow, that I have these supplies, come on down to 33 Marina Drive, and I have taken a stock of who was given to avoid the double and triple dipping, so that we touch and impact a lot of those who haven't gotten anything yet.
Okay. All right. Very good. So thanks very much, folks, again, for tuning in this evening. Kevin, thank you so much. Minister, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And thank you to all of you who have been viewing the program, giving your comments and suggestions. Charles says foam sprays work magic too for sealing around your doors. So again, check A.L. Thompson's. I understand that they might have had some sandbags and other things that can be useful to you. All right, folks, you get one more day, Saturday. Do your preparations, get everything sort of, done. Tracy says that Ella Jan Campbell had some sandbags as well. So anyone knows her, she's on Facebook. Please do reach out.
Okay,
and
great.
again, thank you to our sponsors. Gareth reminds us that there's 48 minutes until the next update. We'll see if we can live stream it. Thank you, Miss Lily, and everyone else who has joined in. You guys have an absolutely wonderful and safe evening. Be safe tomorrow. There's so many accidents on the roadway today, folks. Just take your time.
Road rage.
Be
Road rage. I almost got hit twice trying to get to my office this evening coming from government admin building. There were some serious near misses. People were honking their horns because the car in the front of them were going the speed limit. And I near missed 2 accidents trying to get to my constituency office this afternoon. So please,
slow down.
just take your time, adhere to the speed limits. I prefer you to get there safe than to not get there.
Absolutely.
Yes,
exactly. All right, folks.
Thank you again, Sandra. Stay safe, Kevin.
Okay, good.
All right.
And big shout out again to Home Gas, who has brought you. Irvlin's asking if I have any callaloo. Actually, I was just messaging Marlon. He's working late. He's going to be working pretty much all weekend. But I understand that we need to have a look at the plantain tree because it's like loaded and the little wind is probably going to make it fall over. So he might have to go and pick some of those plantains off and kind of break them off and put them in the house to ripen off the tree. But I'm not sure if there's any callaloo, but by tomorrow I will let you know. So yes, that's home gardening for you folks. But anyway, again, thanks to Home Gas for sponsoring the Stormwatch 2022.
Home Gas is a proud sponsor of CMR's Storm Ready 2022, as we stand ready to support you before, during, and after any storm. Here at Home Gas, our team of managers, field experts, and customer service agents work overtime to ensure that you are covered during hurricanes. With over 65 years of experience, we have been here with you through tropical depressions and major hurricanes like no one else. The same real-world experienced team that saw you through catastrophic Hurricane Ivan is still here, poised to continue offering the best service before, during, and after the storm. Contact us today at 345-949-7474 or email info@homegas.net.